Now it's time to check your money. We're checking in with America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, good to see you as always.
Thank you very much, George. Great to see you too.
So get on that mic.
Great to see you too.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, George.
Yes, yes.
So I think I am going to go back a little bit.
Yeah, you got a little attitude today. I'm just letting people know. Vicki got a little attitude today.
And I have an attitude today, George, and I just kind of want to go back to where we were last week. If you recall, last week I had some very important news because a report came out, and the report really was chronicling the fact that based on current trends, the African American population would actually reach a zero to negative net worth by 2053. And I thought when I shared that information with everyone that I was going to get an overabundance. In fact, I got prepared for extra calls and questions coming in and lots of activity around.
You were getting ready.
I was getting ready for that to expect to get that next last week. And you know what I got?
What you get, Vicki?
Zero.
I thought we had a show. I thought our theme was zero no more.
Zero no more is our theme, but I got absolutely nothing. No questions, no calls, no people saying that they were angry about this. What can they do? Nothing. And you know what, Jordan? I do not understand this. I really don't understand. This was devastating news. This was news that everyone should have shared with their friends, family, and there should have been an outcry as to how can this be? And someone saying, well, let me look at the numbers, let me make sure this was done properly. And then if they felt that the data was correct, why an action taking place around this? But I got absolutely nothing, so I am perplexed. I told you that.
Yeah, you are.
I am really, really perplexed.
Well, you said a little bit more than that. In fact, you know, I don't think we could really say what you said off the mic.
No, I can't. Okay, my mom is definitely listening to this segment.
Yeah, because this. All right, so let's back this up for a minute. You said you're really upset about this, and that there should be more alarm and outcry over this. How should we have reacted to this?
I think the first thing would have been, Vicki Brackens, are you sure about that information? Where was that information pulled from?
Right.
So that I'd have to be able to share exactly all of these reports.
Okay.
Secondly, since we would, after looking at the reports, seeing that the information was credible, my God, what are we doing wrong? How can we change this? How can we stem the tide? What should we be doing? I heard nothing. Crickets, as they say. Absolutely nothing.
Right. So your two things were, what's your source of that? Is it credibility? Is it credible?
Is it credible?
And what should we be doing about it?
What we should be doing?
And nobody's asked that question.
Nobody's. Okay.
Vicki, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What should we be doing about that information, about the negative net worth or zero net worth of African Americans by the year 2053, is it?
2053. Okay, because what's happening...
That's like 30 years from now.
That's 30 years from now, and you're thinking, well, I'll be dead and gone, right? I hope not. Okay, but we're talking about your kids, more so than anybody else. We're talking about... But George, you're young, okay? You'll still be in your prime 30 years from now.
I hope.
Okay. What's most concerning is the trend line. Why, after all of these years of working hard, you know, going to school, all the things that we've been encouraged to do, are we seeing a trend line that's going to actually equal zero? I gave in that report two very important statistics also. One of them being is that we are misinterpreting wealth. Wealth is not income. We have done a great job in increasing our incomes. We have done
We got paper on paper.
We have done a terrible job in converting income to wealth, because wealth is the retention of an asset that you can pass along. It is something that is permanent, whereas income is transient. It comes to you and through you. The purpose of income is to capture it and convert it to wealth. We haven't done that, okay? And that's why we have this negative net worth position that's going to trend to zero and possibly even a negative position by the time we get to 2053. The gap space in the wealth equation is widening. What don't we have in the scheme of things? We have lots and lots of debt.
You said student loan debt
was
one of the biggest impact of
one
factors.
of the biggest impact, and we're carrying it much too long. I spend a lot of time, and can I do a shout out yet? With the Synergy program, working with students who are in college now, talking to them about exactly what's going on with their student loan debt, and hopefully getting them to make a commitment that they will be out of debt within 3 to 5 years, which can be done. It's the way you structure the debt and the way you structure the payoff that you can actually take care of it in 3 to 5 years, because if you don't, you pile on. The next thing you know, you have a family. And then you have the need for housing, and you buy a house, and then you need a car, and you start piling on the debt and stretching that debt for far too many years. But the other thing was this: what we are paying for, I said don't pay too much for the product. What we are paying for undergraduate degrees is also not necessarily right-sized for the benefit of the degree. And I know I got a lot of educators. That's why I also expected to get some calls, because I said a bunch of educators are going to call me and challenge me on that, but they didn't. They absolutely didn't. So the information must be correct.
Well, it must be, right?
Exactly. Okay, because nobody's challenging. But the process of monies flowing to us from income and flowing through us and not being retained is why the negative net worth positions, or the zero position for 2053, is going to occur.
Okay, let me offer something else.
Okay.
Now, we know that statistic was, by and large, on average, this is what's going to happen. Maybe some of our listeners are so, they've been listening for you the last 2 years, so maybe they're saying, well, that doesn't apply to me because I made the right choices, I made the right investments, and I'm protected and I have wealth. Maybe that's what they're saying.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope that over the last 2 years, everyone who's listened to us has made all the corrections and done all the things that we have discussed, and they don't have anything to worry about, and this doesn't apply to them.
That's wishful thinking.
Really, really great, but that's wishful thinking.
It is.
It
I
really
just wanted
is.
to offer that for some people that might be true.
So because I didn't hear anything from anyone last week, what I did is went back to check sources again to be absolutely sure. Maybe I said something wrong, and you know what I found out? This report that was reported last week is 3 years old.
3 years old.
The first one came out in 16, there was another one in 17, and there was another one in 18. Each time with a little different spin on it, trying to get everyone to pay attention. So I gave you the links, George, and I know that you're going to put them up on the Facebook page. I asked everyone to go back and look at all of the reports over the last 3 years, because each year it built more evidence around this particular challenge or particular devastating news every year to challenge everyone to make some changes or to start paying attention to what's happening. So I think it was several months ago I said no more crying without solutions.
Okay.
So here's some solutions for you.
Okay.
Do you understand what a benchmark is?
Yes.
Okay. Benchmark being, and just in case, since we don't have the bell, ding, 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 ding. Benchmark being a standard point of reference. So here's the solution for everyone, that if you follow this, that zero net worth will not take place. Currently, the Discover, the company, actually did some benchmarking to show what you should have attained by the time you reach certain milestones in your life. So if you happen to be somewhere at earning around $100,000 and started to work at 22, by the time you reach age 35, you should have roughly $200,000 saved. Saved. So that's the number. That's your net worth should be right now, $200,000. Okay. By the time you reach age 45, the proper benchmark, if you're comparing the benchmarks around what you should have accomplished, by the time you reach 45, you should have $400,000 saved. By the time you reach 55, $690,000. And by the time you hit retirement at 65, your retirement assets, net worth, should look like about $1,130,000. So The question always becomes, well, how do I do that? What is it going to take? What's the calculation going to look like in order to make that happen? And I'm not going to give you the figure today because I gave everybody a resource to figure it out at calculators.org. That's the homework. The ending result numbers I gave you. Go in and figure out if you started at the age of 22 and you were earning $100,000, how much per month would you need to save in order to reach those numbers? It's time to get to work, George.
It's time to get to work.
We can't delay anymore. It is time to get to work. The income exists in this community. The income exists within the African American community to hit these benchmarks. No more excuses.
No more excuses. Vicki, how do we get a hold of you?
So you can reach me at area code 315-930-4499. That's brackensfsn.com. Or if you want to send me an email and yell back at me, I'd love to people just yell at me. info@brackensfsn.com.
All right. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial. Member SIPC.